Sarah, I understand not available for some time. So should we kind of recap on what we talked about last weekend, Karani?
Sure. Should we maybe reread?
Yeah, I'll reread it and then we can. Yeah, thank you. So my apparel filled and folded around me became Akasha. The Vayu changed into Agni, the Agni into Jala, and Jala became Prithvi or earth. The earth grew grains of food. The food developed into the body. So it is clear, it is not, that the Deha too is myself. Why doubt this? Therefore, I am Adibhudam, also as much as I am, as I said before, Brahman, Adhyatman, substance, and karma. The cause is the same as the effect. I am the primal cause, and so I am all these effects also. I am the Paramatma, the rest are all Adidaivam. In every physical citadel or body, the divine personality named Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb or the primal cause, is immanent. Just as a man, by his senses, the Hiranyagarbha is served by the Adidaivas or deific. You might wonder what the role of these Adidaivas is. They are the deities that serve the divine purpose. That is to say, the eye is illuminated by Surya, sun, the ear by the deities of the quarters. Indra motivates the hand. These and other preceding deities are the senses of Hiranyagarbha. However great a sadhaka might be, whatever eminence he might have reached, he can attain the highest only through Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is indeed Godhead. There is no distinction between the two. Is this clear, Arjuna? I am as much Adidaivam as I am Adibhutam. All these embodies things. As much as these two, I am Brahman, Adhyatman, which is substance, and karma. They are all fully divine. So anyone wants to comment on this? So we discussed this before. Oh, I don't know, Anna is there too.
No, you can continue, Narmada. Someone can speak. I'm sorry, I'm unable. I'll be able to log in soon.
It's okay. Maybe Auntie, yes.
No, last time when I
Mani
was...
Auntie?
Yeah, coming. Last time I was speaking about the Adidaivatas. I think I gave that first 5 senses, whatever the Adidaivatas. For eyes, the Surya, and for ears, that Shruti, Shravanam, it is the Adidevata is Dig Devatas, all the directions. Why? Because, you know, the sound comes from one direction and we all look at that direction from where it is coming. So Dig Devata is the Adidevata for hearing. And for nose, I said Ashwini Kumaras, and for mouth, but for the tongue, it is the, I think I told you about Varuna first. Varuna. Varuna is the Adidevata for tasting. And then Sparsha, I said Vayu. I think Shakuji was asking that there was some confusion because these Adidevatas are for sense organs. There are karmendriyas also. Actions, organs of action have different Adidevatas. That is for the speech. That's the action which we do with the tongue. That is for Agni. Agni is the Adidevata for speech, because we have heard the terms like, fiery speech, and then we always heated arguments, such usage we do. When we speak, Agni acts as our Adidevata for the tongue. So then grasping is Indra, Swami has already said that. And for walking is Vishnu, Pada, for our walking. And the two other, these things are genital, and then other organs are Yama and Prajapati. They are the Adidevatas. Just I wanted to correct that statement which I did last time. Sakuji was asking, I think she mistook his Varuna. There are two things which a tongue does. One is tasting, the other is speech. So there are two Adidevatas in the tongue. One is Varuna for taste, and Agni is for speech. So I just wanted to clear it. And Hiranyagarbha, I think it's very clear, Swami.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Bhagyamanti.
Thank-
I want to know about walking. I missed it.
Vishnu, Lord
Who?
Vishnu is Adidevata.
Vishnu. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that. Thank you.
Yeah, because last time, when we were speaking,
Yeah.
the things were confused. You said Varuna for Karmendriyas, it is
Yeah.
Agni. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Kalyani, you wanted to say something?
No, Auntie, you go ahead. I think you were about to say something else.
No, Hiranyagarbha, Swami is very clear about Hiranyagarbha being as it is nothing but Paramatman. And it serves, Hiranyagarbha is being served by all these Daivatas, Adidaivatas, whatever we were speaking about just now. Just like senses, how they bring information for our mind, so also these Adidevatas are all serving Hiranyagarbha. That's it, I think we could. And Hiranyagarbha, recently, I think I heard Prem Anush and Vishu talking about Hiranyagarbha. Did you see? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, you have to go that, the significance of Shivaratri when he is speaking. So the first dialogue between them, they were mentioning about Hiranyagarbha, how Swami is saying Hiranyagarbha is the one who gives everything to all of us. So either you ask Virat, that is the manifested world where lots of desires are there. Either you go to that Virat, he will definitely give you. Or Hiranyagarbha can contact that Avyakruta, that is the Brahman, unmanifested Brahman. He will take you to that, make you reach the Brahman. That's what he was saying. Okay. And Hiranyagarbha Linga Swami had already, he materialized that long time ago. I don't remember the exact year, which was in golden in color. And Swami showed it to everyone, those who were present in the Prashanti Nilayam. I happened to be there, lucky. That's all. Okay.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Bhagavan's Gayatri Mantra, the third one. Prematmanaya Vitmahe Hiranyagarbhaya Dhimahi. So that means Bhagavan too.
Is
He
Hiranyagarbha.
brought out the Hiranyalinga through from his Hiranyagarbha.
Womb, from his womb, it materialized from his body.
Yeah.
So Prematmanaya Vidmahe Hiranyagarbhaya
Dhimahi Tannat Shakti
Sarva Prachodayat. Yeah. Basically, what Hiranyagarbha means is the Paramatman. It's nothing but different from Paramatman. That's what he is immanent everywhere. Hiranya means gold. Garbha means womb. So gold, which contains everything in the Sai Ram. Now, one by one, Swami is clearing that. First, he started with with Brahman, then karma, then adibhutam, adidaivam. Then now he is going to talk about adiyagna in the next few paragraphs. So what basically Swami is saying, everything is that absolute. Only he is the adhara, that is, he is a support, he is a substratum on which all these things are superimposed. That is what Swami is going to say.
So
I think if
should
there's
we move on?
no, sorry. Yeah, I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Now, for the next entity, Adiyajna,
Yagnam.
Adiyajna, activator of all karmas. That is also me. This is the entity that consumes joy and grief, the result of the multifarious karmas they are engaged in. I am the recipient of the sabda, sound, sparsa, touch, rupa, form, rasa, taste, and gandha, smell. Through the five senses in all beings, the adiyajna principle, I am not only the karta, the entity responsible for the karma, I am also the bhokta, the entity for which the karma is gone through, the recipient of the fruits. I am the benefactor as well as the beneficiary. Of course, Krishna was able to open the eyes of Arjuna and clarify this truth. This fact of his being the Adiyajna, but ordinary intellects may not be able to grasp its implications. It will be easy if we take some illustrations from life. When you want breeze, you switch on the fan. When you want light, you switch on the lamp. When you want to cook, you light the stove. When you want to address a vast audience, you fix up the mic and loudspeakers and switch them on. Or if it is printing you require, you operate the press with the switch. Consider these as separate operations and you will notice that they are related to one another. Light and air, heat and sound are unrelated. They are distinct in every way, it would seem, but for all these, the karta, the motivator, is the same with the electric current. The expressions of the manifestations may be different, but the basis, the inspiration, the latent potency, the base is the same. Like the current, Godhead too operates through all instruments and awards the consequences of all activities of all the instruments. He is the data, giver, the sarva karma pala, the fruits of all actions. Like the current, he is the inner motivator of all beings, sarva bhutantara atma, the soul immanent in all beings. Since he is the activator of all karmas, he is called Adiyajna. Sorry.
Are we able to go to the Telugu?
Yeah. One minute. ఇక అన్నను నేనే సర్వదేహములందు సర్వ కర్మ ఫలాలను అనుభవించు ఏ భోక్తు కలడో అతనే అది యజ్ఞుడు. సర్వేంద్రియములందు వాటి వాటి శక్తులనందు శబ్ద స్పర్శ రూప రస గంధములను అనుభవించు భోక్తే కర్త. అతనే దేహములందు సర్వాంతర్యామి అయి ఉన్న కర్త. ఆ కర్త భోక్త కూడాను నేనే. I think I should stop here so Arun to translate it.
Sai Ram Aunty.
Sai Ram.
Yeah, please, can you read again, please, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure. From the first paragraph I am reading.
Yes,
Ika
Aunt.
adi egnadannanu nene. Sarva dehamulandu sarva కర్మఫలాలను అనుభవించు ఏ భోక్తు కలడో అతడే అది యజ్ఞుడు.
So Swami is telling, I am the Adi Yajna, and I am the one who also enjoys the fruits of all activities.
In all bodies.
In all the bodies, he's the one who is doing the action, as well as who is the one who enjoys, experiences the results.
Is it experiences and enjoys, or just?
Bhokta means, one who, some people say enjoys, some people can say it's the one who is the experiencer.
Anubhavam means, I think, enjoying it. Isn't that correct?
Yes, Auntie, yes.
You experience it also. You can say that, Anubhavinchu. Atane adi yagnudu.
He is the Adi Yajna.
సర్వేంద్రియములందు వాటి శక్తులను అనుబడు శబ్ద స్పర్శ రూప రస గంధములను అనుభవించు భోక్తే కర్త.
So one who is experiencing all the sensory input, he is the karta, he is the doer also.
అతనే దేహములందు సర్వాంతర్యామి అయి ఉన్న కర్త.
So he is the one who is present all over. The karta, the act, the doer who is all over. In the body.
Does atane mean like thus or therefore or something?
He alone.
He alone, okay.
ఆ కర్త భోక్త కూడాను నేనే అని బోధించెను.
The doer as well as the experiencer is myself.
ఈ అది యజ్ఞుడు ఎవరు అన్నది అర్జునుకు కన్నులు తెరిపించే చూపించినాడు. కానీ సామాన్య మానవులకు అంత అర్థం కాకుండా ఉండవచ్చును.
So basically he made Arjuna open his eyes and see this, and this may not be easily understood by ordinary human beings.
మనము లోకానుభవములో కొన్నింటిని ఉదాహరణమునకు తీసుకొన్న సులభముగా బోధపడగలదు.
So if you take a few examples from our daily regular life, it will become very clear, or it will be understandable.
మనము గాలి కావాలన్నా ఫ్యాన్ వేసుకున్నాము.
If we want some breeze, we will on the fan.
వెలుతురు కావాలన్నా బల్బులు వేసుకుంటున్నాము.
If we want light, then we will keep the bulbs.
వంట కావాలన్నా స్టవ్ వెలిగించుకుంటున్నాము.
If we want cooked food, then you will on the stove.
లౌడ్ స్పీకర్ లో మాట వినపడుటకు మైక్రోఫోన్ వినియోగించుకుంటున్నాము.
For hearing the sound through the loudspeakers, we will use the microphone.
ఇంకేమైనా ప్రింట్ చేయవలనన్నా ప్రెస్ మిషన్ ను పనిచేయ ప్రారంభిస్తున్నాము.
If we want to print something, we will start a printer machine.
వీటిని ప్రత్యేకించి చూచినా ఒకదానికి ఒకటి విరుద్ధముగా కనిపించును.
They all seem as if they are all different in opposed even, to some extent.
విరుద్ధం. వెలుతురునకు గాలికి వేడికి శబ్దమునకు సంబంధం లేనట్లు కనిపించును.
You will think that there is no relationship between light or breeze or heat or sound.
అయితే అన్నింటికి ఒకే కరెంట్ కర్త భోక్త అయి ఉన్నది.
So, but for all these, the electricity is the doer as well as the experiencer.
ఆదేయములు వివిధములుగా వినియోగములు వివిధ విధములైన ఆధారము ఒక్కటే అయి ఉన్న కరెంటు ఎటుల ఆధారమయ్యున్నదో అటులనే సర్వోపాధుల యందు సర్వ కర్మల ఫలదాత ఆ పరాత్పరుడై ఉన్నాడు.
So the end goal, or the expressions of all these, though they are different, the basis or the support is only one, the same thing.
Sarvakarma Paladata. Even
He's the one who grants all the fruits.
Current vale Paratparudu Sarva Bhutantaratmayai undi Sarva Karmalaku Kartayai unduta Cheta Adi Agnudu Tane Ayunnadu.
So just the way the electricity is present in everything and makes all these function, the same way the Lord also is present in everything and makes everything function and also give the results.
I think up to this I have read.
Brother, I just want I think I'm just little bit of need clarification. But we have learned before that karma consonance with the Lord only comes to him. So when he is activating all karma, then consonance with him and all activation by him, how that is, we'll understand what is consonant, and now we are saying all activities are done by Lord. Then there's supposed to be something we have to understand where that is.
So what you're saying is, if the Lord is the doer, he is the experiencer, and he is the one who is doing it, what is our role?
Our role, and before one, we learned that only consonance with Lord only comes to it will be part of the Lord. Yes. So there are karma that we do in our own won't go to him. So whereas here all the karmas are done by he's the doer. So how that is something
doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
That's right. So I will ask, a good question, sister. So we'll open it for discussion. I will invite anyone to share your thoughts, please, on this.
Sai Ram, brother.
Yes, brother.
So if we take our body made out with 5 elements, so even though made up with 5 elements, the perception, Swami saying that is by him. Whatever the karma you saying, the perceptions by him. But you have to understand, apart from the 5 elements, other 3 are there. What are the other 3? Mind, bhukti, ego. These are the ones not allowing us to take the karma. We don't believe that one. Swami is the one doer. Swami's karma is divine, and we are trying to take because of these 3. If you understand the instead of duality, if you understand one, that is the divinity, then we are out of the karma. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else who would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sai Ram.
Yes.
So coming to Swami being the doer, the experiencer, the enjoyer, however we want to word it, the thing is, am I letting that happen? So the question is, we say love all, Bhagawan says love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. Am I able to be in that state? And how do I say this is the same thing when Swami looks at all of us? He was seeing us as Divyatma Swarupalara or Prematma Swarupalara. That is because when Swami is seeing us, he is seeing us as himself. And so when we are looking at the same koshas kind of a thing, it is Anandamaya looking at Anandamaya, everybody as Anandamaya. But now, if I have to look at myself when an action is being performed, am I doing it at the level of Anandamaya? or am I doing it at the level of Vijnanamaya, or am I doing it at the level of Manomaya, or Pranamaya or Annamaya? So in that terms of how am I responding to anything? It has to be the ultimate thing of that Atmic vision or Atmic light from inside. When it traverses through all of these, is it getting mulled? Is it getting disturbed in its effulgence? Is it reflecting something else than what it should be? Because if it is going as it should, then it gets reflected as Swami being the doer, Swami being the experiencer or the enjoyer. The entire thing becomes Swami's. But now, if I put my intellect in between, if I put my mind in between, if I put any of these things in between, then that which has to get reflected as God's work, because of the smaller ego, like Brother Dasan was saying, comes up. Now it becomes more of me doing the work rather than letting Swami do the work. And that is where, am I in alignment with it? Am I in consonance with it? Does it really go as God's work or my work? All of those comes into being. So if we let truly the Swami within his work from that level of complete surrender, complete faith, complete love, then that is the way it will translate as God's work. As long as the smaller self of the I doesn't come in between, it becomes everything as being experienced or done by God, experienced by God, enjoyed by God. But if I get the smaller self in between, then it becomes my owners, and that is where the thing, is it in alignment, isn't it? Is it in consonance? All of those. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts? So no one else. Maybe I will. I think Brother Dasan and Brother Sai Satish have said what they have same thing. Maybe I will slightly put it in slightly different words. It's from what Swami has said. God is the doer. He is the one, the source, the basis, support, and the end goal and the result. All that is God. So I think you're asking what are we doing? As Sai Satish or Brother Tyson said, as soon as we think we are doing, even though we are not doing, all the problem starts. We imagine that we are doing. Because we imagine that we are doing, we are even unable to see God doing it. That is ignorance. So if something is happening, if we imagine that we are the one who are doing, we won't be able to see what exactly is happening. So once that goes, then we will see God doing his own work. That's all we have to do. So whatever we are doing, whenever we are doing, if we do with the feeling that it's the God who is doing it, God who is making it happen, and we are just going along, in that case, whatever the result is, our ego will not imagine that it's doing this or that. Whatever happens, we will accept that also, because we think that's what God wants. We will not be affected. So ultimately, if we are in that state of not being affected by anything which happens, the fruits of anything, the results of anything, then we are fine. Then we will see God's action. We'll be able to see. Otherwise, we are only imagining our own actions and reacting to that.
Yes, thank you very much. So in that case, we are the one we have to move towards, or we have to realize is everything happens with him. That for that you have to, that is the hardest part, to come to that level, that to think everything happens with him and take it and that's the God's will kind of. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam.
Uncle, just to clarify, so that stage of doing everything in consonance with the Lord's will, that is kind of like an intermediate step, like where is that right? Like first we may think, okay, we're doing everything according to my will. Then we think that we're doing everything according to God's will. And then we just lose the idea that we're doing anything at all.
I think we are not doing anything, because we are just being used by the Lord to do something. But while we are doing something, the mind tricks us into thinking that we are doing it. Okay. And because of the mind, mentally, we are experiencing a variety of things. We plan, we think which this should be happening. And sometimes it happens, then we think, oh, because we thought and we did, it happened. Sometimes we imagine that this should happen, but it doesn't happen. Then we don't want to take the blame. So we had to blame somebody else. All this comes. But the one who has thought of the God, he will just do, oh Lord, continuously is aware, the God, I'm doing this, God, I'm doing this, I'm doing it this way. And then whatever the result happens, he will turn around and say, God, this is the result. Now I have done my part. So in all these three stages, we will be constantly, continuously aware that it is the God who is doing it. Because once you do that, you'll be able to do anything, you'll be able to face anything in this life without unnecessarily being agitated. Because anything happens, it's okay. It is the Lord's will. But the thing is, we want to change things. We want the circumstances to change. We think it's all in our hands. And God will laugh. He will say, sometimes you think you succeeded, sometimes you imagine you failed. In both cases, your imagination is faulty. You are not able to see what God is doing. So I think that's all we can. We are not going to do anything different. We will continue to do the same thing. But the mental state with which we engage in action, the mental state in which we accept the result will change.
Brother,
Sai Ram.
Okay, go ahead, Auntie.
Okay, Sai Ram. That is why it is called Yajna. It is a
Exactly.
Yajnam. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's nothing. We are putting everything into God's will. Thank you.
Brother, there is one more word I just, after discussion, I catched it, is that he's an activator only of all karma. But how we do it, it's up to our state of mind. Then, is that the right way?
Our state of mind can't do any change what is going to happen.
So how it will be consonants come if it's all he's activating, he's the activator. How we think and do with the constant thinking of God only will go to him, and he will. Otherwise, it's not consonance with him. So to be part of it. Am I right?
Well,
I will ask others to share. Yes.
So I guess following that means that like everything is in consonance with his will. Everything is happening. There's nothing that is not in consonance with his will. So when earlier we were reading when Swami saying, do every action in consonance with my will. It's only for our own state of mind, is it? But and then if we are really enlightened, then we will realize that even that thought won't even come, because we don't even think that we're doing anything.
You also become a witness.
Yeah.
So yes, for that you have to come as a witness. You have to move towards them to realize that. Am I right? So until that time, you won't feel that everything, he's the activator of all karma, and you won't see it.
Everything you do with a renounced mind. There's no mind prevailing there. You do as an instrument of God, so the fruit also will go to him. You will not be thinking of the fruit. Oh, I did it, so it's successful. I failed it, so I am the cause. If you don't think with the body, then it is God's will.
So
this is what I understood.
So to be more practical, because I'm trying to be see in our day-to-day actions how we can do this. So if you were to do something, it's God's will, we are doing it, right? So I think I'm thinking out loud. Correct me if this approach is wrong for a day-to-day stuff. So if there's something is needed, let's say doing some activity, and like Anna mentioned, our mind is what, oh, I am doing it. And then when you're doing, I face this, I'm not sure if others do too. So when you're doing that, you're also thinking, will this work? I have to do it properly. Or what if this doesn't work? What is the concept? That is our mind working, right? So I think in order to practical approach to what we are doing to understand ourselves, I guess, it's like if we stop thinking and just focus 110% in our activity, then there's a possibility that we won't be thinking, the mind won't be playing games. And the moment you start thinking it is positive or negative, what will happen, then you are getting away from God, getting away from this is God's will, or you're doing his work, or also you are coming out of that surrender, your action to him and doing that. So how do we do that, Anna? Like, that is the trickiest question. How do we stop the mind from thinking this and that and everywhere, going everywhere? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Habit. Yeah. It's very well articulated, the problem. I will open it up for others to share their thoughts, please.
Saram, brother, it's a good question. So the mind is the one, the cause of the problem, because mind interpret in a different ways. So that's what Lord gave the buddhi. Buddhi mean, so you have to get the jnana. Jnana is different from vijnana. So vijnana mean after you learn everything, you have to put it in practice. Then that is a time you get to get the experience. What is God's will? What is God's sankalpa? Then you will do according to the God's, whatever he's thinking, whatever, then your mind will be trained. There won't be any duality. Not only that, you will understand what is right and wrong. So there won't be any ego after that. So we have to look at our mind and buddhi and ego. These are the one always give trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, brothers. Anyone else would like to share?
Yeah.
Yes, Sai Satish.
So let's take this story. We have heard about this story many times, but just in this context, Dronacharya has called all his disciples there. He has tied this bird on a tree that is far away. He calls one disciple after another and he asks them to take aim at the bird. And then each of the disciples come. Some say they see the Dronacharya himself, the teacher. Some say they see the tree. Some say they see the disciples and all that. And finally, when Arjuna comes there, he says, I see only the eye of the bird and nothing else. And then Dronacharya says, now shoot the arrow. So any activity that we are doing it will come down to ekagrata, that is complete concentration. And complete concentration also means complete involvement. And complete involvement also means completely being in the present. And completely being in the present means no worries of the past, no expectations of the future. We are just there to do that task. Whatever that one task, that singular task is there, Swami would say, Sarva Karma Bhagavat Prityartham. Every task is done with complete love for the Lord. So I am doing this task, Swami, for you with complete love and complete devotion, surrender, and just the task exists. Nothing else. Because many times when I approach a task, I am worried, oh, how will this task go about? Will somebody be happy about it? What have I done in the past and maybe I didn't do so well? So the mind starts wandering around all those other activities around the task and not the task by itself. Like how Arjuna just saw only that eye of the bird there. Can I only see the task and the task alone and do it with complete ekagrata, complete love and surrender? Then it is being in the present. Then we are only worried about that aspect and it gets fruition. We are not distracted by anything else.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. I think I will take what Sai Satish and Dasan have said it slightly differently. Every day, we get up, and that day we should say, oh, what is there to be done today? What has to be done now? And you should just do it. And as soon as some worry or fear comes to us, that means we are either thinking about the past, which is worry. If you're thinking about the future, it's about fear, uncertainty. If these two show up, then that means we are not in the present. And it's like, a student is studying for an exam, some subject. Then if they, think, oh, tomorrow when I go, if they get this exam, this question, or maybe if I don't get the questions which I have studied for, all sorts of thoughts come, the person will not be studying. He's worried about what will happen. And fear grips, and then we try to think of various ways of doing something. In that process, actually, we give up the opportunity to study. One who is just focusing on the study will say, I will study whatever I can to the best extent possible. And if when I go to the exam and whatever questions come, I will do the best I can. I will do the best. So I think it's all a matter of knowing whether we are worried or we are afraid. If these two are avoided, then everything is fine. God's will is happening, and we just go along. Because sometimes we don't want to make mistakes also, because we are afraid of making mistakes. In that process, we fail. Like, if I'm learning to ride the bicycle, I should not be worried if I fall down. Nothing is wrong. We will not learn to ride the bicycle if we don't fall down. So in life also, we may make mistakes. It's okay. It'll get hurt a bit, but you get up, dust yourself, and then again continue. I think that should be the attitude. We should take it in stride and thank God for everything He has given us.
Uncle, just as a follow-up, kind of, when it comes to making any decision, I think you were also talking about having the one buddhi when we were doing the Sanskrit, like, because we always think about all the pros and cons of every decision, and like, kind of, we think about it a lot, I guess, before we make any decision. But I guess a person in this state, they just wouldn't even have any pros and cons list, or like they would just automatically know what's the right decision in every situation. Or
very good question, Kalyani. I will again open it up for, should we look at pros and cons when we do anything? I think that's a question Kalyani is asking. And how does the buddhi should be applied to evaluate something which we have to do, some choice, some decision? Should we look at the pros and cons? Very good question. I will again open it up for anyone to share their thoughts.
So Sairam brother. So bhakti mean whatever we talked before. We are learning something. Okay, if you are a surgeon mean. So first we learn something. That means theoretical part. So then after that we have to do the practical. We have to follow the procedures. This is the way we have to do that. Then after the practical knowledge only, the real bhakti is there. Same way, if we are studying all these one, it's not enough. We have to follow the path, whatever they talked. Then you'll get the real buddhi. Then you can apply that one. So without your experience, with doesn't you have to have both jnana and vijnana. Then only you can take the good decision. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Anyone else? Yes, Sai Satish.
Sai Ramana. So I'm going to go back to Krishna and Arjuna. So the great battle is about to take place. And we discussed this earlier also. Why did Arjuna get Bhagavad Gita and not Yudhishthira and so on? We saw that one of the important things that Arjuna had was Purva Tapa. So obviously Purva Tapa means again the same thing of Arjuna was evaluating the pro and cons. So any situation when it presents itself, obviously we have to be in the present, we have to execute that. But at the same time, it all comes by training, like the same thing. We learned for learning how to sit and learning how to walk, it took us a couple of months and years before we perfected that aspect. So likewise, when we have to do any activity initially, obviously we have to evaluate the pros and cons, in my humble opinion. We'll have to see what is right, what is wrong, how do we respond and not just react in the spur of the moment. But as we keep doing this, then it should become sahaja swabhava, that at one point in time it is so superfluous that when anything happens, we instantly are able to respond the right way. We don't have to get into that pros and cons because it becomes second nature, and we are in complete tune with that, and we respond correctly because it has been done again and again and again in the right way. The intellect has got to sharpened to a level where it is absolutely the Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya rub close to one another. So everything is responded at that realm. But initially, when we start, of course, we will have to understand what is the duality, the plus, minus, and everything, pros, cons, good, bad, and then keep practicing and get to a level where we can do it as such. That's what I feel, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish.
Brother, any activities, we have to analyze the pros and cons in order to align with God's will, right? And we have to think that's the
How do you analyze and find out which is God's will, sister?
Which you align with the Swami's teaching. Are you doing with your own selflessly or self-purpose? That's how you will analyze it. If it's as long as it's selfless and doing good, that's all.
Thank you.
That's the pros and cons you have to analyze. Basic
Thank you.
teaching.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Any other thought, comment? So Kalyani, even I think Brother Sai, Satish, and everyone has spoken, including Sister Aruna. But see, Swami, just to give some technical terms to it, Swami says when we talk about discrimination, there are two types of discriminations. One, he says, is individual discrimination. The other one, Swami calls as fundamental discrimination. When he says individual discrimination, the individual only talks about the pros and cons as far as that individual is concerned. Is it beneficial for me? What will I lose? That kind of analysis which is very, very common, because they are all thinking about themselves or things around, people who are related to them or who are some way connected to them. But when Swami says fundamental discrimination, you look at it, is this beneficial for everyone? Does it bring about good for everyone? Will it bring about bad for everyone? And that Swami calls is fundamental discrimination. That means you think of what, as Sister Aruna said, what God has already laid down. what is beneficial for the society. All those pros and cons analysis is more important, and that's where our buddhi should be spent on. And when that is done, that is okay. But if we talk about only ourselves, limited self, then that is individual discrimination, and that's what everyone does. They want to maximize the profit and they want to decrease the loss. And there sometimes we may get disillusioned by the results. Saira.
So when we are thinking about, if we are thinking about like overall what is beneficial for the world, or at least like, you know, immediately your community, even then I feel like sometimes you can get pulled into so much thinking, like, okay, how will it affect this person and how this will affect that. And so because of my understanding of what Swami's saying here is, or what we were just talking about, is that we shouldn't be thinking too much. I don't know, is there
we shouldn't be thinking too much. Yeah, you're right. See, I think we should take a small example. You know, if we want to buy, say we want to buy a car, then we should ask, why do we want to buy a car? Okay, so we'll say, oh, we have to go from place X to place Y. Then okay, what is your affordability? What's the money you have? Is it fair to allocate that much money for a car? You can go and just buy a car. Done. But then what we do is we will do, okay, you know, that person is driving this car, this person is driving that car. If I buy this car, what will somebody see when I'm driving this car? You know, that kind of thinking goes. Then somebody will say second-hand value, you know, all that. To some extent, we have to look at what's affordable and what serves our purpose. But beyond that, if we start thinking, the car has taken over our life. So we need to, I think, use to the level required some analysis. You know, sometimes to do thorough analysis, mileage, fuel consumption, repair costs, parts. You know, if we start doing this, actually, just to buy a car, we may spend 1 month, almost every day, about 4-5 hours. So, for, you know, 5 hours into 30 days is like, you know, 600 hours. So, you know, or, you know, 1500 hours we have spent. Somebody will say, for a car, I'm only going to spend about 2 hours of analysis. After that, I'm just going to go and buy a car, which will take me another 1 hour. 3 hours, job is done. The rest of the 1,400 hours, we can think of God. We can read something which is worthwhile. Because while we are penny wise and pound foolish. We are counting the pennies, but you know, we have given up our entire life for a car. That amount of time and effort we could have spent on studying something which will bring more meaningful to our life. So I think we need to allocate time according to what the problem requires. And I think that's, as you said, we should not think too much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Brother Dasan. Brother Hasan, actually, you should use your discrimination to unmute.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, sir.
So, Sairam, brother, if we think about beneficial, we have to think the reason. If we take a king,
yes,
if the citizens are doing not good and behavior and knowledge, everything is not good, mean that Shastra says that half of the sins will come, it will affect the king, and rest goes to the individual. And same thing, any organization, it could be a temple or any organization, if the leader doesn't have the good knowledge or practical things, anything, it will affect the leader too, when I'm comparing the king. So that spiritual place supposed to be all the devotees. if that spiritual place is not going under the beneficial of the devotees, it will affect the leader too. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother. Anyone else has something to say? If not, should we move on? I think now we all know that the Lord is the doer. The Karana, Karya, and Karma, all is Him. The cause, the effect, and the action. He says He Himself is. I think we will move on then.
The seventh is Pranava, Om, which when pronounced at the moment of death, awards merger with the Akshara Parabrahma, imperishable absolute itself. When Krishna said this, Arjuna immediately prayed to him to elaborate the point a little more, so that he might grasp it clearly. Krishna was only too glad to do so. The moment of death does not mean some future point of time. It means this very moment. Any moment might turn into be the moment of death. So every moment is the last. Every moment must be filled with pranava. The fate of man after death is molded by the thought that predominates at the moment of death. That thought is the foundation on which the next birth is built. Whoever at the time remembers me, attains my glory, reaches me in fact, declares Krishna. So each karma of man, every striving of his, every sadhana should be aimed at sanctifying that fateful moment. The years of life must be devoted to the discipline that will bring up at that moment the thought of Paramatma and Pranava. What has to be discarded is the Deha, this physical case. What has to be earned is Parabrahman, the universal absolute. The Deha has your reality, your Swarupam, the undiscardable, indestructible, undying Satyam, truth, and Nityam, eternal. That reality is the entity called Atma, or what is the same thing, Paramatma. Since you are that, you cannot cast it off. Casting off the body is akin to shifting from a house occupied for some years, and birth is your entry into a new one. Both these are physical acts, not affecting the Atma. Arjuna, the Atma does not come in, nor does it go out. Those who are toiling in the falsehood of Dega Tattva, the physical, cannot have the Atma revealed to them. The Deha Tattva is liable to decay and death. Therefore, more than the 6 items
I think we lost.
Has to be understood clearly. All the long years of life are to be. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry. So I'll start from therefore, more than the 6th item mentioned by me already, the pranava, which is such a potent instrument of liberation, has to be understood clearly. All the long years of life are to be utilized for this consummation. The mind, consummation, sorry.
Consummation.
The mind being consummation. The mind being fixed on pranava when the body.
We have lost her.
Yes, Auntie.
Thought indicates the food fed on. Sorry, I think my internet is kind of coming in and out.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think from all the long years of life
are to be utilized for
this consummation. The mind being fixed on pranava when the body is being cast off. You belch the flavor of the food you have taken. Your last thought indicates the food you have fed on. So Swami, after all these 6 points which we discussed, Swami has now come to the 7th one, which is pranava. And, so he says we should remember pranava at every moment. At any moment we may die, and when we die, we should know the pranava. We should think of the pranava so that we can reach him. And so I will stop here. If anyone would like to share any thought, please go ahead.
Sairam.
Sairam Auntie.
Any moment might turn out to be the last moment of our lives. So when commenting on this Quran, it says in the prayer that every day when I pray to the Lord, we should think that is the last day of my life. So that whatever I have to do, whatever I'm supposed to do, we should do it and clear up the accounts. So that, when we die, any moment we can die, so we can peacefully merge with the Lord. That's what Quran says. It seems every day is the last day of our life. Treat it like this. Saira.
Saira, thank you, Auntie.
Can we go through the Telugus?
Yeah, we can read. 1 second, Auntie.
Yeah. ఇక 7వదైన ప్రాణ ప్రయాణ సమయం ఎవరు ప్రణవమును స్మరింతురో ధ్యానింతురో అట్టివారు అక్షర పరబ్రహ్మమును చేరుదురు.
So Swami tells anyone who is at the end of their life, whoever it is, if they have their minds focused on the pranava, they will reach the akshara parabrahman. I think Swami had already started about akshara parabrahman. Brahman has akshara and param. So he's telling that imperishable self will be reached by whoever is meditating on Om when they are at the last moment of their life.
అని కృష్ణ పరమాత్మ తెలుపుగా దాని విషయమును విపులముగా తెలుపుమని అర్జునుడు ప్రార్థించెను.
So when Krishna said this, Arjuna asked Krishna to explain this in greater detail. He prayed to him.
అందుకు పరమాత్ముడు ఈ క్రింది రీతిగా బోధించెను.
So for that question, Krishna taught the way it is stated hereafter.
బావా అంత్యకాలమనగా ఎప్పుడో కాదు.
Oh brother-in-law, the end of life is not, doesn't mean some other time.
ఎప్పటికప్పుడే నశ్వర శరీరములకు ప్రతి క్షణము అంత్యమే.
Any moment is the last moment of one's life or body.
అట్టి అంత్య సమయమున ఏమి స్మరింతురో అదియే తరువాత పరిస్థితులకు అనుకూలమగును.
Whatever is thought of at the last moment will become the one which is conducive for the future.
అనగా పునర్జన్మనకు పునాది.
That is the staircase and steps, ladder.
పునాది na foundation.
Foundation, sorry. That's the foundation for the next life. That rebirth.
అట్టి సమయమున నన్ను స్మరించిన వాడు నా భావాన్ని పొందును.
One who remembers me at that moment will attain my nature.
అనగా నన్నే చేరును.
That means he attains me.
మానవుని ప్రతి ప్రయత్నము, ప్రతి కర్మ, ప్రతి సాధన మరణకాలమును సంస్కరించేవిగా ఉండవలెను.
So every action of man, every effort of person, every sadhana a person does should be such that it makes the final moment of one's life worth.
ఆ సమయమున పవిత్ర చింతన అనగా ప్రణవ చింతన వచ్చునట్టి సాధన అభ్యసించవలెను.
So at the end of life, the thought should be auspicious, and that should be the thought of the pranava.
వదలవలసినది దేహమును,
What you have to relieve is the body.
పొందవలసినది పరబ్రహ్మము.
What you have to gain is the Parabrahman.
ఏవి వదులుదువో అవి నీ స్వరూపములు కావు.
Whatever you are leaving is not your real self.
ఏది వదలుటకు సాధ్యము కాదో, మారుటకు వీలు లేదో, అట్టి సత్య నిత్యమైనదే నీ స్వరూపము.
What cannot be discarded and what is not cannot be destroyed, what is the truth, and that is eternal, that is your real self, real form.
What cannot be changed, మారుటకు వీలు. దీనినే ఆత్మ అని అందురు.
This is called Atma.
అట్టి ఆత్మయే పరమాత్మ.
This Atma itself is the Paramatma, the Supreme Self.
అతనిని వదలుటకు ఎవ్వరికీ సాధ్యము కాదు.
Discarding or leaving that is not possible for anyone.
శరీరములు వదలుట ఇంటి నుండి వేరొక ఇంటికి వెళ్ళినట్టు అటువంటిది.
Leaving the body is like leaving a body and taking another body is just like leaving a home and going to another home.
జనన మరణములు దేహ సంబంధములే కాని ఆత్మ కాదు.
The birth and death are only related to the body and not to the Atman.
ఆత్మ వచ్చునది కాదు, పోవనది కాదు.
Atma does not come, nor does it go.
బావా, దేహ భ్రాంతితో ఉన్న వారికి ఆత్మతత్వము అర్థము కాదు.
Those who are focused on the body, for them the Atman will not be Atma principle will not be understandable.
దేహతత్వము స్థిరము కాదు.
The body principle is not permanent.
కాన పై చెప్పిన ఆరింటి కంటే ఈ మరణ కాలమును ఎట్టి భావమును ఎట్టి స్థితిని కలిగి ఉండవలెనని అన్నది తెలుసుకొనుట అత్యవసరము.
More than the 6 points which I mentioned, this one which is the most important and should be understood clearly.
ఎందుకన ఈ స్థితిని తెలుసుకొనుటే జీవిత కాలమును చేయు సర్వ సాధనము.
Because the reason for this is whatever is done throughout one's life, the purpose is this, the end goal is this.
అట్టి సాధనల ఫలమే అంత్యమైన అట్టి పవిత్ర చింతన వచ్చుటకు కారణం.
The fruits of all the sadhanas is for having this kind of a state of mind at the end.
కార్యకారణములు అవినాభావములు.
The cause and effect are interdependent.
పిండి కొద్ది రొట్టి కదా.
Just the way the flour is, that's the way the bread is.
Bread will be sadhana koladi sadgati.
According to the sadhana, your destination will be the good destination.
Kana సద్గతికి అంత్యమైన చింతించు పవిత్ర చింతనయే ప్రధాన లక్ష్యము.
So the real goal, the most important goal is having the right thought at the end, so that you will attain sadgati, the good destination.
దానికి చిన్నము జీవితమున వేటిని ఆచరింతుమో వాటిని పురస్కరించుకునే అంత్యమున స్మరణ కలుగును.
Auntie, I think you had to translate this.
Okay. జీవితమున వేటిని ఆచరింతుమో, వాట్ ఎవర్ వి ప్రాక్టీస్ డ్యూరింగ్ అవర్ లైఫ్స్, వాటిని పురస్కరించుకునే అంత్యమున స్మరణం కలుగు. వి హ్యావ్ టు డెవలప్, పురస్కరించేది అంటే encourage them.
Okay,
encourage those habits, and then so that it will come to us at the end of our lives. అంత్యమున స్మరణ కలుగును.
That will be the thought at the end of your life.
అర్జునుడు అంత్యమున సచ్చింతన రావాలనన్న నేటి నుండియే ప్రయత్నించు. Has she read?
No, she has not read.
No, the last paragraph is there.
What is Kaluguna?
Kaluguna is it, you get it. You obtain.
Oh, it happens also is okay.
And Cherudu?
It means join, merge.
It reaches.
Reaches.
The thought at the moment of death depends on throughout our life's sadhana. Ajambila's story is also there, when he calls out to Narayana at the end, calling his son. But Yama comes and then, no, he is the devotee of Lord Narayana. We cannot take him. So, but most of us, we will be in an ICUs, hope not. Some people with all the tubes on our face, trying to breathe. This is the condition of most of us. Of us, we have seen it. But if we are lucky, death can come to us within moments. And at that time, if you have to remember, just like Mahatma Gandhi, you remember Ram, hey Ram, when he died. So to get that kind of death, there are many examples, of course. Many of our own relatives or friends have died with the name on their lips.
Sairam Bhajamanti, you have been with Swami so long. You have given us the Vibhuti mantra. You are with us for the study circle. You will never end up like that, because all throughout your life, you have been doing all good sadhanas like Arno.
Sister Saku, first of all, I must always remind myself, it is God's will. In consonance with God's will that happened. That's
because here Baba says your constant practice is more accordance with your practice only, everything will happen.
Hopefully,
so, I am not free. Yeah, I'm going along with Baba Krishna's assurance.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, you two are our role models.
No, please don't say that. I don't elevate me to that position.
Not to build up your ego.
I'm like you, Ma. I'm like you.
Auntie, if you talk like this, we will pull us all down.
No, you be whatever elevated places you're all. That's fine. That's fine with you, Paul. But as far as I am concerned, I am saying.
I am telling Sakko auntie, she's dragging me also there down.
No, nobody can draw anyone. It is Swami's will. Wherever we are going to be there. And he has kept us. He has kept us in our different individual places.
He's the Karta, he's the Bhokta.
He's the Bhokta, that's it.
Brother, here the Om, it was the one we are discussing, Pranava Mantra. But at the same time, when you remember him in any form, right? It says here, when at the time, remember me.
Yeah.
That means any name at that point.
Any name.
Yes. So, what is trying to connect here with the name?
See, Swami has not used the word Om.
Yeah.
He has only used the word Pranava. Okay.
Pranava.
And he has equated the Pranava as Paramatma.
Paramatma, yes. Thank you. I got
that's
that.
so.
Okay, thank
you. So this Om is called Akshara Parabrahma, and Brahma is another. The Brahma has been divided into two, right? Akshara Brahma and Brahma.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning we learned like that.
I think it's not divided, Auntie. There are two aspects of the Brahman. One is Aksharam, one is Paramam. I think that's how Swami explained.
Yeah.
That means it never decays. It is the supreme.
It's supreme.
Para, it's a differentiate with the para Brahman and Brahman, right? Para is unmanifested one. The other one is, we can say like that, right?
I think Swami basically explained Brahman as Param as well as Aksharam. So I think they call it imperishable absolute. That's the way. So we should think of God. Ultimately, that's what it means when we are dying. Krishna says, if we think of him, we will attain his nature. That means every time, every moment we have to think of him so that we will attain his nature.
Regarding Aruna's question, unmanifested Brahman is Nirguna Brahman. Manifested Brahman is Saguna Brahman. That's how we can differentiate. Aruna, Sister Aruna, I think.
Yes.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Yeah. Because I was trying to connect before with why Om and Pranava and remember me, kind of. So remember me means any name. So that I got the clear answer. Om equivalent to the Pranava. Pranava means any that Parabrahmam. So Parabrahmam has all the names. Kind of. Thank you, Saira.
That is why in those days, people used to name their children with Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Narayana, like that, so that, you know.
Auntie, that is one of the questions. You just call Rama thinking about your son.
If you are thinking about Rama,
your God,
even then, God is so kind.
So that's a duality there,
that Rama, right? Okay, he will
the
take
attribute is different when you think about your son Rama and the real God Rama's attributes are
most
different.
of the time we will be thinking about our children.
Yeah.
At
If
least
that is right, name, just the name won't serve the purpose, right? For this
it will, but the story of Rajamila, it is true.
So just calling the name, we have to have that at the mind status, state of mind also supposed to be there, just not the name. Am I right, brother?
Yeah.
Well, because when Mani Auntie says Rama for son is, you know,
God is so compassionate. He is so compassionate. He will take you. He will take us. He will call the name of our own son. He will take us.
Yeah. So the belief is, sister, the name itself is powerful by itself. Whatever, even if you're thinking something else, the name will take you where it has to. I think that's
in that case, we'll say Rama and one person's name, okay, God's name, and he's doing all kind of bad things. Okay, when you think of that name at the last moment, so you think the name is still powerful?
The name is still
brother,
powerful.
we didn't hear you.
The name is, I think, sister, still powerful.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but it may be not fully powerful, but it's still powerful.
But I think Swami also tells the story of this person. He keeps thinking like Ajamila, I will keep all my son's name as Rama, Krishna, Govinda, and so on. So in the last minute comes, he calls out Rama, Rama comes, his son comes. So the next is he calls out Krishna, Krishna comes. Then he says Govinda, all three sons come. Then he says, oh my God, all three of you have come here. Then who will take care of the shop when he dies?
That's
so even if we are trying to trick God, I think we cannot trick our own inner self, which is the true God. So it has to be finally how we have lived our life. That's what will come out at the end.
Then the shop also we had to give some God name so that we'll be saved.
Yeah, Krishna stores.
Yes, Brother Dasan, you have raised your hand.
So, Sairam, brother, that's what Swami first explained about the Atma. Then after that, he explained the Adibhuta, Adideva. So here now he is explaining about the Pranava, the Namasvarna. Even we also said in this Kali Yuga, you all compared to all the Yuga, Kali Yuga is the very good because of with one word you can merge with the Lord. Same time, even we have some stories about the Sivaratri, Pragaladan story, the power of the Namasvarna. So people can think, oh, in the last minute, I can say, Om, I'm merged with the God. It's not possible because the death, you don't have that experience on that one. You don't know when that is going to happen. Any minute can be happen. So you have to be prepared for that one. So you have to practice a lot. That's what Swami trying to explain. That's what, so whatever food you ate, the burp comes the same smell. So the last minute, whatever you have did sadhanas and everything, that smell going to come. So that is the one going to be decide what is your next birth. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Sister Maha, please go ahead.
Saira, brother, this is a question. I thought that when the people die, so they ask to.
We are not able to hear you properly. Can you come to the closer to the mic, and then there's echo. Yeah.
Okay.
Sister.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, sister.
Okay. So whenever the people die, so they ask other person to recite the Pranava mantra into the ears. The Pranava mantra is Om Namah Shivaya, isn't it? So I'm asking, this one will help?
Of course.
Liberate, instead of thinking other things, because my father asked, but we didn't do it. We were so scared and we don't know what to do. So it will help. That's my question.
Panchakshari.
So very good question, sister. So I think Sister Maha's question is, when we are dying, if somebody tells Pranava in our ears or some God's name in our ears, will it help? Is the question Sister Maha is asking. So I'll open it up for comments, please, from everyone.
So Saram, brother. So definitely, this answer is no or yes. That definitely is going to help. The reason is, if the person can into that mantra, if he can listen to the mantra, that time he can think about Lord. Even most of the people, they read Bhagavad Gita. When you read the Bhagavad Gita, if the person cannot understand what is on the what they are reading, that is not going to help for them. Same thing, when they saying the mantras, he's supposed to, that minute he's supposed to realize, experience that one. Thank you, Saira.
Okay, thank you, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts? Sister Vasudha, please go ahead.
Sairam, I just remembered one incident when we took our kids to India. That time we had gone to Shirdi, and when we came out of there, close to the temple, there were like Sai flower shop, Sai coconut, whatever, all this. As we went a little bit away in the perimeter, there was a Sai wine shop. And so his son was like, Mom, you told me that in Hinduism alcohol is not good and wine. How come this person has Sai wine shop? And then I was at a loss to explain. Maybe he took the blessings of Sai Shirdi Sai Baba to start his business. I'm not sure. Another incident, we went to a place called Kolkata, also known as Calcutta. There's a big Kali temple there. And then we are coming out of the Kali temple, and then a little further away, there was a man smoking a bidi. Bidi is like a very unrefined cigarette. In the olden days, it's the tobacco leaves, no covering. And in his hand, he had the packet, it said Ganesh. In fact, in Bengali, they call it Ganesh. Ganesh bidi. So I look at the children, how they spot these things. He's saying, look, it says Ganesh on it, and he's smoking it. After he smoked, he threw the end, and then he stomped it. You know how people put their foot and crush it, right? The embers. It's like, look, he's stepping on Lord Ganesha. So I'm just thinking, it's not just in the name. The name is just an identifier. It's really how you think and how you live the life. And so if you're lucky at the time of our birth to be thinking Namasmarana, which like many of you have said, it's if you practiced it for years and years, it will come so naturally along with your breath, and hopefully our thoughts will be aligned with the name. And so if somebody is whispering in my ears, hopefully that should generate the inherent devotion. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Sairam, auntie. Sairam.
Yes, I agree with Vasudha, but here Baba says your Sadgati is in accordance with your sadhana, spiritual practice, and constantly you have to be your namasmarana, and you have to be always leading a very pure life. If you don't do, and if you have been living in ignorance, and when somebody comes and make the pranava sound in your ears at the time of death, that is not going to help, because the soul is not really in a condition to understand it.
See, there is a nice story of Ramakrishna, which Swami also has told. See, apparently there was in India, in one village, there was a street, and there was a sadhu, sannyasi. He was fully engaged in sadhana, continuous sadhana. And in front of his house, there was a prostitute. She was a pleasure house. And the sadhu is fully doing his sadhana, but that woman who was living there was she was running her own business. And apparently this sadhu, every day, if whenever somebody enters that house, he will throw a stone or something like that, and that pile of stones grew into a small hill, that much. So once he called that woman and said, "Look here, you are doing something bad. I have kept the number of people who have come, so this much is your papam, sins you have accumulated." But that lady said, apparently, what can I do? This is the way I can survive. Every day I pray to the Lord, pardon me, and I don't know anything better. Please guide me. Like that, I'm praying. That's what she told. Apparently, on the same day, both of them died. When they died, Yama's, servants had come to take this sage with them. And then he saw that the lady had died, and the people from the Devaloka had come to take her. So he said, "You guys are having some mix up. I think the others should have come to take me. The woman should be going to hell, something like that." And then those messengers of Yama supposed to have told, "Look here, that lady, whatever she was telling, she was thinking of God more than you thinking of God. Whereas you, though you are doing sadhana, all kinds of sadhana, you were thinking about the sins committed by that woman." So ultimately, even if somebody is doing something bad, if only they thought of God, even in some minuscule way, that has some benefit. Because it may be better for somebody to go to a Sai wine shop and saying Sai wine rather than some other store. It may be better for somebody to say Ganesh BD and smoke rather than, give some other name BD. So in some minute way, if they are exposed to the name of God, the belief in the Sanatana Dharma is even accidentally you hear the name of God, that also can have great benefit. Because the name itself is capable of purifying everyone. So hopefully, these people, to some extent, they would have benefited whether they know it or not. But I think those of us who know, we should know it with conscious, with the awareness that, the best we can do, and that way we can benefit. And maybe around us also, whoever is around us also will benefit. So I think the name has immense benefit. Sai Ram. I think it's 3:30. Sai Ram, Sai Satish, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just for the benefit, I think those stories and instances were more from like every saint has a past and every sinner a future. So I think from that context, what sister had shared and what Anna had explained, but like in our case, since we know Bhagawan, our step has to be go more forward and not. So just reiterating that, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Thank you. So, the responsibility for us is much more. Swami has given a lot, so more is expected of us. So with those thoughts, I will think we'll close today because it's 3:32. And I hope everyone will be okay because next week weekend is Shivaratri. I hope everyone is okay to meet at 2 and do the study circle.
Is there any special bhajan on that day evening?
Overnight there is bhajan.
Shivaratri is on Saturday, right?
Saturday night. So, I hope everyone is awake and can join at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
They are not supposed to sleep.
This satsang will go on. Satsang will keep.
Okay, Sai. Okay, so
are we having a class?
Yes, we are having. I just asked.
Thank you.
Sai Ram, Sister Maha, I think you put your hand.
Sai Ram, before you close, I want to ask this question. Whenever we die, it's really a mystery. We don't know what is going to happen. It's hard to think about the God. So that is the reason I just one word like Om Namah Shivaya, if somebody recite into our ears, will it help?
It will, sister. It will.
Okay.
It will.
Thank you. We didn't do this one for our father, but we all did this one for our brother-in-law when he was dying.
It will help.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It will help for the person who passed away, and it may do more help for the people who are saying it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Saira.
We will close with Samastaloka Saira. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram. Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Ram.
Thank you.